license. I keep telling you to get one, didn't I? For the past 5 years.
Right. I'm being dragged.
Wow, Coco.
Do you see
Are there
why
other cars
now?
in your size?
Wow!
That coldness you feel against your neck is a knife I'm holding. Hello everyone and welcome back to 4pixels. Coco and Kimi are here with guest Buttons and Layflay from Cacophony of Games. And we are continuing the letter. We took a break and so Isabella, I'm assuming that's Isabella, has been snoring in my ears for quite a while now.
My cat has decided now is the perfect time to try and eat my chair.
Cats have uncanny timing. Thankfully, if there's anything left to be spoken between us after, we don't have to discuss it on the way home. Or rather, we can't. Because no sooner than we hit the road, Isabella dozes off. Despite my foul mood, I still end up suppressing a laughter once the first sounds of her breathing fill the car.
Mama? Not your mom, Isabella.
Slow and steady, the quiet rhythm so completely unlike her, so far removed from every impression anyone has of her. A few faint whimpers will occasionally come from her, but otherwise it's just us, this silence, and it's so utterly unexpected. Still, a welcome break, of course. Peace and quiet is one thing you'll rarely get with her around. Yet it's nowhere near comforting. It merely lends the air this strange clarity, every little sound, every single movement more palpable. And with it comes the unease. A jolt of surprise hits me. It's almost comical if this were a different situation. In my haste, I accidentally dislodge my mobile phone from its seat on the dashboard when I swipe on the screen. Soon I'm scrambling blindly for it with my other hand, while keeping a steady eye on the road ahead. Just leave it be. Just leave it be and wait till you park. Back up, please.
Yeah, please.
Please.
A voice crackles from the loudspeakers before I can put it back. Although muffled heavily by the surface, I recognize a person on the other line from her chipper tone alone.
Hello? Miss Cooper?
Oh, you're still awake. Evening. I hope I didn't disturb you or anything. I know it's a bit late. Sorry about that. I just want to check on you and Isabella. That girl's still not answering her mobile. Were you able to meet up with her?
Yes. She's with me. We're on our way home.
Hello? What was that again? I can't hear you properly.
Sorry. Let me just fix this dumb phone.
My hand stops dead for a moment. I spare the device a brief glance, waiting. Seconds pass. Nothing happens, though. Frankly, I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but the lines of my mouth forms into a frown regardless.
Miss Cooper?
Yes, still here.
Did you say something?
Just that I didn't get the last part. What were you saying again?
No, I thought you... Never mind. Must be the signal acting up. Coming in?
What?
Is everything all right over there?
It's like two old ladies trying to talk to each other.
What?
You seem to be busy. If this is a good time, I can just call you back some.
Drop the bass.
What?
I have to make a conscious effort not to panic right then and there, although my tight hold on the steering wheel tells a different story altogether.
Miss Cooper? Rose? Hey, Rose! Are you still there?
Only a burst of static answers me, and
Help me.
maybe this lapse is entirely because of exhaustion. It
Ah!
has.
Hmm.
You've been telling yourself that quite a number of times now.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It has been a long day, and I haven't fully recovered from last week's bout of flu, contrary to what I've been telling people. Though, perhaps, had I paid closer attention to it, had I not been so occupied with other thoughts, I probably would have noticed earlier that it never came from my phone, but from somewhere right behind me.
Yo,
Oh.
fuck that noise.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Nice.
So, I think now's a good time to point this out. Anybody else notice how Becca's story has been all past tense so far? While
Yep.
everybody else has been present?
Hmm.
I didn't notice actually.
I don't like
Hmm.
that.
What, the past tense or the face of the mirror?
Either.
Both.
Both.
Both are concerning.
Time slows to a crawl. Looking up is a mistake. The first thing I see is its face, a ghastly shade, every inch battered, bruised, and bloodied. Even in the darkness and the world passing by in a blur of lights outside, I can still make out the wound. Blood still oozes from it, little trails of crimson running down its face, glistening under what little light there is. But it is a gleam in its eyes that catches mine. The quiet plea, the anguish, the desperation in them, more than its hideous features and the awful stench of gore now soaking the air. And try as I might, I can't bring myself to look away. Even as its lips contort into a horrific smile. Even as a sharp, harsh noise pierces the air and the silence around us.
Rebecca! Huh? Car! Car! Eyes on the road!
Against everything I've been taught, and I've constantly reminded myself, I close my eyes.
I was gonna ask, when's she gonna pay attention to the road?
It's a brief moment. A short, vivid second of muscle memory and instinct completely taking over. And if I didn't allow it, if my hands didn't move or my feet didn't hit the brakes in that exact second, I might have. Isabella and I might have. No. I shake the notion away before I lose myself in it. Right now, it's an ugly line of thought I refuse to venture into. Not when breathing is a struggle, and every ounce of strength has been totally drained from my body. Most definitely not while Isabella's panicked voice right beside me still rings in my ears. We're alive. We're safe. That's all that matters. But it is not her face that I look for when I finally open my eyes. All gone.
I like that shirt though.
Yeah, it's really good.
I expected stains, little telling marks and creases on the covers to show me where it sat not a second ago. But whoever, whatever it is, left not a single trace. And though courage is a hard thing to gather at this point, I take what little of it remains in me and turn towards the back seat. Even then, there's none. Or was there really something there in the first place? With how empty it is, I'm beginning to doubt it. The stupid flu again.
I need a long rest after this.
My hands fall uselessly to my sides, numb from how taut my grip on the wheel has gone, yet still trembling from the unexpected rush of adrenaline. Against my ears, my heart still pounds in erratic rhythm, and my breathing hasn't slowed down. But the world has already righted itself without waiting for me, and little by little, second after second, as I sit here motionless, color begins to seep back around me. Along with it are the sounds and a voice, no longer the indistinct ringing it was earlier.
Rebecca? Becca, are you okay? Answer me, will you? You're scaring me.
You know what? I think we should just call a taxi since... Can you keep it down?
Strained, harsh, and completely unintentional. But with heat prickling at the back of my eyes and the mild throbbing at my temple, I could honestly do for a little silence for now.
Keep it down? We almost crashed, Becca.
I know what happened. It was a lapse. I'm sorry.
A lapse? You call that a lapse? Becca, I really don't want to end up a mangled mess on the side of the road, or a mangled mess anywhere. All I'm asking, if the time ever comes, which I hope isn't right now, is a peaceful death. Give that one to me at least. Not that I'm asking for it, but please.
Isabella. Belle, you're overreacting.
No, I don't
Really?
think. I don't think
Oh,
nearly
man.
crashing is and getting upset is an overreaction.
I'm pretty sure I have said that to my brother at least 3 times.
That's like
Wow.
the exact opposite you do to calm
If you're
someone
so
down.
worried, why don't you drive?
Don't have a license.
I keep telling you to get one, didn't I? For the past 5 years.
Right. I'm being dragged.
Wow, Coco.
Do you see
Are there
why
other cars
now?
in your size?
Wow!
That coldness you feel against your neck is a knife I'm holding.
I wasn't really expecting to stay here this long. I thought it'd just be for a year or two.
Oh no.
Sad baby is sad.
All of a sudden, a pensive mood comes over her. Isabella looks away, then, while what's left of my little lecture never crosses the tip of my tongue, I don't allow it to. Good for once during this chapter so
Yeah.
far,
For once, just keep your
Right,
mouth
damn.
shut, please.
because in each of those words she lets loose earlier is a small truth. Her stay has always been something meant to be. Her stay has always been meant to be something fleeting. Earn some good money, go home. It's what she'd tell herself during her first year here. Now, half a decade later, I'm not sure if she still believes that. Even I'm not sure if I still believe it. And if there's something in her reasons that has changed along the way, even if I already have a hunch, it's one thing I'll never bother to ask. Those are hers to keep.
I'll be careful this time, I promise. Just please, can we give this whole thing a rest for now?
She nods, and that is the end of it. We spend the rest of the trip back to Salemwell in silence. All thoughts of an overactive imagination playing tricks on the flu-addled mind, and of smiles never meant for my eyes, abandoned, if only for a brief moment. Several days later.
Yeah, weren't we on the 21st?
We
Yep.
were on the
Mhm.
21st. Yep.
Damn.
Taking the big leap. I think it would be after that.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be after the film fair.
Oh, yeah.
Friday, October 21st. After watching Blue Jeans, Isabella tried.
Francais.
What?
Oh, again, this text. I hate it. Especially when you're streaming it. It doesn't work. It looks
So,
more like
fun
a
fact.
J than F.
That's how you do a cursive F. I fucking hate it.
No, it's not. I've done cursive Fs before. That's not how you do it.
Yeah, it is.
Specifically, that's the text type of it.
I've never done it like that.
Ugh. Same. It's not how I was taught to do cursive Fs. Regardless, after watching Blue Foncé, Isabella tried making small talk with Rebecca, but the latter was in a prickly mood and was not interested. On their way home, Rebecca glimpsed something suspicious sitting at the back of her car.
Conveniently overlooking that whole near-death experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Let's just avoid that.
They're just details, you know?
Details, yeah. It begins innocently enough. Tuesday morning arrives like any other day before it, bright and clear. Actually, I want to check what else was happening on this day. Alright, so this is the day that Isabella went to Zach's. So this is after her entire experience where she like looked up that info and was nearly caught in the office. Yeah. And yeah, that's where they had their dinner together. Ashton, Zachary, and Isabella.
Hmm.
Tuesday morning arrives like any other day before it, bright and clear. Even though it comes with an extra helping of the unusual October weather, I appreciate being able to catch a glimpse of the clear skies today. After going through a bout of sickness last week, it does something to lift the mood of what would otherwise be a dreary morning. And despite being mostly a creature of habit, I wind up waking earlier than usual because of it. Still, no earlier than Isabella, it appears. I've assumed she'll take a day or two off because of what happened to Miss Cooper, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The sound of the morning news drifts from her unit when I walk on the way to my mailbox. Chances are, around this hour, she's already dressed and ready to go, probably just waiting for the next bus to arrive. I have tried following her example before, but I don't think I'll be repeating that.
Really? How can anyone be up before the sun is up?
It's a habit she got from home, she said, instilled in her by the kind of life she grew up in. Like clockwork, it's always at 4 a.m., either to help with chores or prepare her little siblings for school. It surprised me the first time. She didn't look like someone who could. In the end, I've simply passed it off as one of the many things anyone will have to get used to around her. Not that I'll ever fully understand. I'm my parents' only child. We aren't well off, but so far I've lived a relatively easy life. I didn't have to think about food or bills for the next day or paying for any siblings' tuition on top of my own or supporting a sick father's medication. All I have to worry about were my grades, if I gained Mum and Dad's approval, or what we'd have for dinner. When put next to hers, they all pale in comparison. They look less like problems and more like petty issues this way.
Petty issues?
But as unimportant as it all sounds, sometimes its ugly head rears at the most inappropriate moments. And sometimes they come through your mailbox in the form of a fancy-looking letter, pretty ribbons and all. Whoever sent this has spent silly money on the envelope alone. V- Verging on ridiculous, really. I can already imagine Isabella wrinkling her nose once she sees this. Then she'll complain about unnecessary expenses and rich people problems. I'm almost afraid to touch it myself. As if simply brushing a hand against its crisp surface will be enough to put a crease on it, and it'll be a terrible slight to the sender. Oh, yeah, that's relatable. But as extravagant as I find this, it isn't really the first time I've received one. Most of the time it's not even for me, so who am I to complain? Either way, no look of surprise crosses my face once I flip the envelope over to see my parents' names written in neat script.
Nothing new then.
Their years in the academy naturally brought with it various connections, people from other fields, art, science, business, politics, you name it. This one, though, gives off a much personal vibe. Letters like this usually come from old students, people who've grown fond of my parents, and they, in turn, treat like children of their own. I've only met a few of them. Most have moved on to become successful in their chosen careers, and little letters like this are their way of expressing gratitude. It's one thing Mom and Dad are proud of, rightfully so, and I'm happy for them. But there are times I wish they'll remember they have a daughter here. The real one. Not that it's
Woof.
a...
Sorry. Damn. Ooh, that's brutal.
hmm Not that it's of any importance now. It's not like they didn't raise me well and provided for me. They did. I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for their hard work. And like a dutiful child, I do everything I can to give back. Even if it's as a small thing as letting them know they've got another mail waiting for them. The phone rings for a good minute before someone answers. Mum. Her voice as warm as I remember.
Becca?
Hi, Mum. How's the conference going?
Aw, that's a new face. Aw.
Oh, she looks cute.
Well enough. Until your dad sprained his ankle.
Oh no, is it bad?
I'm all right. In case anyone in this family cares to listen, I'm all right. Very much alive, darling.
But for how long?
And there you have it. He'll be up and walking in a few weeks, don't worry. We're going to have to extend our stay here until it heals, though. Is something the matter?
Nothing big. Just that this mail arrived for you this morning.
A lie. Thankfully, she doesn't notice. Although, if I'm going to be honest, a small part of me yearns for her to do so and ask me about it. But I put down that idea almost as soon as it surfaces. I shouldn't make them fret. They're busy.
What does it say?
Raise your glasses, give cheers to the good times, blah blah.
Becca manners. That isn't how I taught you to read.
Sorry. You are cordially. It's an invitation, Mum, for a housewarming party. From, Hannah?
The name rings a bell, though at the moment I can't recall when or where I've heard it recently. It must have been nothing too important if I didn't bother committing it to memory. There are a lot of Hanas in the world, so who knows?
Hannah.
She also wrote you a note, Mum. It says you used to be her private tutor at the Evans mansion. And that she misses you and would love to see you two again.
It makes my heart clench to read another openly say those words to them, the same ones I want to tell them. I want to see you too. It's been years since we've been together as a family, and if there's one thing that hasn't changed from childhood, it's that Mum and Da are still busy with their respective careers. Out of the country, away on some meeting or symposium, sometimes for months on end. It only grew more frequent with the years until I'm old enough to live on my own. I'd like to think that's how I've become independent at such an early age. They've always praised me for that. At times, I wish they didn't.
Evans? Oh, I remember now. Honey, it's Hannah. Hannah Evans. Remember? Bright girl, 2 years older than Becca.
Didn't she get married a few years ago? 7 now, I think. But they grow up so fast, these kids.
Yeah, she invited us to that too. Fonte de Medici. But we missed that one because you had to present your paper in Singapore.
We did send her a note after. Still a shame we couldn't attend, though. What is it about this time?
She sent another invite for a housewarming party. Becca, when is it?
You know, this is a
Mhm.
small detail, but I think it's very interesting that she doesn't even have a picture for her own mother, probably because she hasn't seen her in so long.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, true.
This Friday, Mum.
Oh, that's too bad. We'd love to be there, but Da's not in a condition to go walking around. I guess we'd have to decline again. I really miss that girl.
Ow.
Damn.
I could go in your place.
I let
Then
it.
again, sorry, did Isabella have a picture for her mother?
I can't remember. Probably not, but likewise, she
I don't
hasn't
think
seen her
so.
mom in 5 years, so she wouldn't have it if she got a new phone in that time.
She would have pictures somewhere.
Yeah, but taking a picture of a picture?
Yeah, I've seen people do it.
That's weird.
Why? Since if you don't have a scanner, you just gotta do what you can with what you can.
I guess. I let it slip without thinking. Personally, I've never been fond of gatherings, regardless of how simple people make it seem. But if there's one thing I hate hearing, that disappointed note in Mum's voice always ranks first.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that so deeply.
Whether it's directed at me or some other thing doesn't matter.
Are you sure? Don't you have work this Friday?
The event will be in the evening, Mum. It shouldn't take anything away from my schedule. It's all right. The invite's for 2 people. I can bring someone with me so things don't get boring.
I see. Maybe you can also invite Ashton?
Mum, that's a sure no from him. He hates attending parties. But I'll see what I can do.
What a face.
If not, I can always bring Isabella with me. You know her. She won't say no if there's food involved.
Maybe if it's at that mansion, she will.
Okay, if it's not
Right.
going to be a big problem for you, I don't see why not. We owe you this one, darling.
And again, not even the ghost can stop Isabella from food.
No problem, Mum.
Ah.
I'll even say hi to Hana
I
for
relate.
you.
Please do. And let her know we'd love to see her once we're back in the city. Leave her our number or something.
I will.
But you know, the two of you would have become really good friends. Don't you remember? You met with her once. If my memory serves me right, you were 12 then?
This too, I can't recall. It's probably one of those meetings where we only talked a bit before going our ways. If she did leave an impression, I'm pretty sure I would have written about it somewhere, or at least recognized her name. Somewhere, like maybe in a diary. I still need to check out that game. For those of you wondering, there was like this little prequel game they made for phones called The Diary, which is about Becca when she's young. As it is, the only people I can remember clearly from that time in my life is Ashton and Mandy. To some extent. Mum must have sensed my confusion because she laughs.
Don't push yourself too hard, darling. Really? It felt like having two daughters back then. Sometimes I wish they didn't send her away to boarding school. But, well, you know how often that goes with them. Still, try talking to her while you're there.
Oh, we'll see. I'll let you know what happens after.
I'm looking forward to it, darling. Take care of yourself.
Will do. You too, Mum. Bye. Tell Dar to be careful next time.
She chuckles then. A hearty one, tender and always light on my ears. She may be a stern teacher, but this is the part of her I love the most. The sound of it still echoes even as our call comes to an abrupt end, bringing with it a memory from so many years ago. When life and responsibilities that accompany adulthood are things far from our minds. If given the chance, I'd love to go back to those. I don't dwell on it though, striking it all away almost as soon as the memory forms a clear picture in my head. I've always wondered how Isabella can easily pretend everything's normal over a phone call, then bounce back to her usual self immediately after. I've seen her do it plenty of times. For me, it just drains whatever energy I have. And with a whole day of teaching still ahead of me, I can't afford to look exhausted in front of my students. Even for a wee bit, it's never a good example to set. So with another sigh, I put everything at the back of my mind and tread back to my room. The rest of my day awaits. And with that, we will end this episode right here. Thank you guys for joining us and see you next time.
Bye bye.
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 Hello everybody, this is Konetsu on 4pixels. I'm glad to have you guys here on my very first Let's Play. And of course, because I'm a big fan of it, I had to play Sword Art Online Lost Song. But this is actually the Japanese imported version, because I don't have a PS4, I'm too poor for that. And also because I have no way of recording anything on my Vita, although I do have the Vita version. But I imported this from PlayAsia, so if you have a PS3 and you want to play this on there, that's where I've gone. Anyway, let's begin. I had a save file on here, but the recording was kind of shoddy, so I'm just going to override that. Let's do new game. Yes. Yes. There's Kirito. And the game looks really good. I really enjoy the way it looks.
Yes.